Chris, I'm not seeing the demographics breakdown.
Oh, let me look back and make sure.
Scott, can you summarize that real quick? I don't have the document in front of me.
Yeah, that's what, let me get it pulled up, Tony. I don't have it in front of me either. Let me get it pulled up and then I'll summarize it because I think
Thank you.
Sheila's, you're all right. Is I think our priority is our goal for today is to prioritize what demographic areas that we need to be mindful of. And I apologize for not having this prepared.
No, me the same. I'm looking at it now, at the demographics. I only see a few things that have some holes in there that say 0.
Hey, my apologies.
No problem. Glad you could join.
Putting out some fires over here.
Oh,
Hope not literal fires.
yeah.
Kind of wish there were. How is everybody?
Fine, how are you?
Okay.
Jennifer, we're just kind of getting our feet underneath us. We're making sure that we've got several documents for people to look at. One being the updated list that Teresa sent out that included all the nominees plus past recommendations. So that's a pretty healthy list. Just looking at it right now, I think we're seeing almost 44 names, 43 names are on there. And then Teresa was gonna resend, or people were pulling up the diversity metrics that we have tracked for several years and was looking to see where those were
Okay.
what the status of those were.
Okay.
And so, Jennifer, what do you want us to have accomplished today for our time together?
So, in our last meeting, there was an excellent suggestion that we decide what our need is before we start looking more deeply at those individuals who have been suggested. So, what are we looking for in terms of Teresa?
I just want to let Scott know I just emailed him that document.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So it is, we can go in any direction y'all would like today, but it was my understanding, and I thought it was a good suggestion that we really take a look at what it is that we need in terms of geographic, racial, diversity, professional background. And that was Sheila's suggestion, and she might put a finer point on it than I have because my brain's a little rattled here.
No, that was my suggestion, and I actually, just to start off, looked at the diversity chart, the demographic charts, and I think we each might have different opinions about what we need most, but I thought our biggest deficit is regional. And the second would be age, particularly 31 to 40. So those will be my top two.
And
areas.
for Tony's sake, if you don't mind, Sheila, I'll run through the list since we don't have it up visually, and just kind of give you an update of what's on there. If that's okay with you all, I'll make it pretty quick.
Sure,
Please
sure.
do.
As far as gender diversity, with the vacancies, we're at 9 males, 7 females. So if we, as we're considering, if we're looking to add, making sure that we're adding female diversity into the mix. As far as race diversity goes, our breakdown is 70% white, identifies white, 18 identifies black, and 6% identifies other. So yeah, so we're at 76, 18, and 6. A little bit more difficult to do the regional diversity as we just talked about. I'll see if I can find a way to pop that up on screen here in a second and share how that looks, just so we can see where it's going. But as somebody had mentioned, we do have 0% from the Western Lakes and Rivers region. We have 1 representative for the Green River region, 2 from the Cave region, 3 from the Louisville Lincoln region, 1 from the Southern Lakes River region, 1 from Northern Kentucky, 5 from the Bluegrass area, 2 from Eastern Highlands North, and 2 from Eastern Highlands South. Just as a reminder, those are the terminology or the regions is based upon the tourism districts. Occupation, I think it's kind of all over the place. I don't know that we have any deficiency there, and unless I think the group would wanted to point towards a certain area, we do have our highest representation is in public history and museums at 24%. 3% in government. I'm sorry, 14%, 3 people in government, 3 people from higher education, which is also 14%. And then from just general business is 19% with 4 people. So we do have some other areas, education, media, and tourism that we might consider looking for additions into.
And when you say education, Scott, are we talking below college level, right?
Yes, yes, good point. Pre-K through 12 is probably what we're looking at. We do have three folks from higher education at 14%.
So education, tourism, and what was the third one you named that we could work out?
Education, tourism, and what was my third one? Education and tourism have 0%.
Right. Was it business? No. Was it?
No.
I think I mentioned we have 1 person, 5% from media and communications.
Okay.
And so the reason why I bring that up too is on the foundation board side, we've found that actually a fairly important business area to be interacting with, somewhat from a more advisory group kind of perspective, but it has been very helpful for us to have those connections, that and tourism.
At our last board meeting, wasn't there a gentleman there from tourism? I don't know if he stayed the entire time or not, but he said
typically it's somebody that's a representative from the Tourism, Arts, and Heritage Cabinet.
Okay. There was a young man there too, and he left, or he introduced himself as being part of tourism. You remember, Jennifer?
Oh, Sebastian Kitchen was there. Yeah, he's
Sebastian.
the deputy secretary. Yeah.
Yeah, he was there representing the cabinet though, not, he wouldn't be not as a board person.
Okay, all right.
To Sheila's point, then on our age diversity, I won't go through each category, but we have 0 under 30. And we're kind of evenly spread through the 30s to the 50s. We have our highest concentration is between 50 and 70. And then above 70, we have 1 person.
I tell you, 0 under 30, that's a hard nut to crack when you're talking history.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I would agree there. That is a tough nut to crack. Scott, let me just verify. Did you say that we were say that again on the male, female. I thought I heard 9 and 7.
9 and 7, you're correct. It's
Okay.
9 males, 7 females.
Okay, thank you.
And Scott, are all of these numbers current or?
That's after the current board, the vacancies that we're anticipating.
Okay. And remind me the number of vacancies?
It'll be 4, Teresa, nod or chime in, 4 general terms, and then I think that's all we're looking at, correct? If the officer corps remains the same, because Cynthia is eligible for another term, and then all the officers would be eligible to remain in place for another term as well. So it's just those 4 board member vacancies that we would be anticipating.
Okay. Scott, a few minutes ago, did I hear you say that you would have the ability to put up on the screen for us the regional?
I'm trying to figure it out. So yeah.
That's the hardest
regional
one for me to hold in my head. It would help a lot to be able to see that.
Yeah. Go ahead and talk amongst yourselves, and let me see if I can figure this part out.
Okay.
And I think this was in Teresa's, if any of you have your email available. It was in her last email that she sent, the chart.
Would there be an assumption that we would like to have a 50-50 male-female ratio?
I think that's a good question.
I think that would be nice. I don't see that as critical as regional.
Right. I think that's where we kind of got stuck the last time was the regional piece, especially that Southeast region, which we were stumbling around to try and figure out who's even in that region we could go for. And I'm trying to think, when you say under 30, that's almost out of college level. I'm wondering if there's any way to tag a university or a college over in that area in some way. No.
And I think under 30 is important. I concentrated, I had 3 areas. There was region, race, and age. And my age was 31 through 40. I think you might get more out of someone in that group. And I was really kind of thinking about the future. If you get some solid people in that, you're probably getting someone that might be involved, particularly if they get in the officer queue for the next 6 or 7 years. Under 30.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They're still trying to grow up.
They are.
Yeah. And based on my experience, I would be tickled to death with more in their 40s, but we can definitely make some progress, whether we're talking about people in their 30s or 40s. Yeah. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah. So that's and I'll try not to move the cursors too fast to spin everybody around, but let me know if you need to go to a different section of the spreadsheet to look at different elements. But that was what I have up here are the tourism regions with the terms ending. And so just for everybody's reminder, I think our terms ending are Tony, Dee, Alan Denny, and Alyssa Keller.
Okay. Eastern Highlands South. Okay. Oh. So Western Lakes and Rivers region, we got no one.
So I think we want to make sure that we have at least one person in that mix. What are the others that y'all feel like we need to make sure that we have? And Scott, if you could help me, the distinction between the Western Lakes and Rivers region and the Southern Lakes and Rivers region is and so where does Bowling Green fall in that? Just to help me visualize.
Bowling Green, I believe, falls in the cave region. Yes.
Okay.
So you've got Western Lakes and River region to the west. So Todd, Christian, Caldwell, and Crittenden counties kind of border that.
Okay.
And then you've
Everything
got
west
along
of
that southern border is the cave region. So that's Logan, Butler, Warren, Simpson, Allen, Monroe, Barron, Metcalf. And
Okay.
then that southern Kentucky Lakes and Rivers region.
Scott,
is
if
District
if
5,
you
that's Pulaski, McCreary, Wayne, Russell, Adair, Taylor, Greene, and Cumberland.
if you open that second tab on that sheet, Scott, if you can show it, it shows what
Yeah,
counties.
there's a map. I was trying to just
I broke it down into the county so that makes more sense here.
Okay.
there it is.
Okay.
So Western, Cave, and Southern Lakes and regions.
Okay.
I think Westerns are all of the regions are important. They're all important. I think Western is one that we definitely need representation in. I'm looking at the counties there, and those are some significant places in Kentucky.
Yeah, I know at one time too, in the coal region of Kentucky, which would have been McQuarrie and Whitley and Knox and Bell, down in there, didn't we used to have Sunday? I know she died, Carolyn. Was she on this board, right? Carolyn Sunday?
I don't
No.
know.
The name's not ringing a bell.
No.
I know she has since died, but she was like the repository of information from this region. And there's a lot that that isn't recorded, especially when you talk about Black coal miners who came up out of Alabama, which is kind of how my family got here, and a lot of Native American history in that region that is kind of just floating in the wind. So I'd like to throw a pitch in for those two important histories that we probably need to do more for or about. I guess that would be what, Region 9? Is that where Cumberland
Yes.
River over in that area? Yeah.
Yeah. Carolyn was
I know-
from Harlan. Carolyn was from Lynch, Harlan County. And so that's right. And she was part of the East Kentucky Social Club, which was the national gathering of African Americans who have grown up in Eastern Kentucky.
Right, right. And no one's really, is that Riley who's doing that now? Is anybody kind of still working with that? D? Eastern Kentucky
It's still, I think they're active, and I think I just heard about the meeting, but you know, Bill Turner's active with, is interested in that community and is in touch. And and Bill works with us, and I can reach out and ask.
Okay, I know they used to do a festival every year. I don't know if that's still happening, but okay.
Does anybody else need to go back to the previous slide? Because I kind of do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
So, I mean, if we're just looking at the numbers, we're talking about someone from Western Lake, someone from Green River region potentially, someone from Southern Lakes, and someone from Northern Kentucky. I'm oversimplifying and just plucking those out just for the sake of hearing what the others think.
No, I agree.
I agree also.
And just for my input on it, I think that's a good direction to think of, because you're always gonna, for those of you who've been through this process, we never are wanting for people from the Bluegrass, or the Louisville region, I would say, Louisville Lincoln region. So being intentional about selecting those places might put some good guardrails on your selection process.
Okay. And does it also make sense to this group that if we use that as a starting point to have a goal to find some one person from each of those four, that we could then also start looking at age and race diversity in those
Right.
areas?
Unknown caller.
Exactly. That's what I would say, because if we've got that many people, if we can just narrow it down to our needs and concentrate on that's probably a good use of time, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have the candidate pool listed by region now?
We do.
Okay.
Well, we
We've
do
got
for
it
the new
identified
ones.
by region. Let me see if I can do a quick sort and see what we've got in those. I tell you, I'm gonna take the share screen off so it doesn't
Okay. While Scott's doing that, I wanted to mention that this is either the third or fourth time I've served on the nominating committee, and what we've just done feels more intentional and organized as a starting point than any other time that I've served on the nominating committee.
Are you saying we're growing up, Jennifer?
You mean
I'm
that in a
saying-
good way, right? In a good way.
No, I'm saying that that Sheila pointed us in the right direction at the end of our last meeting.
We're finally getting it, huh?
And I do appreciate it. I couldn't quite verbalize what I knew we needed to do, and then Sheila said it, and I said, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. You don't really think about it until even just looking at the spreadsheet, all the things to be considered.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I'm happy we're doing it. And I've also made the assumption, and I shared that with Scott. I thought every state had a historical society. You know, it's amazing to find out that it's just not a common thing, which I just still have a hard time getting my mind around, that we actually have states that don't go through a process like this. It's crazy.
Yeah.
and so we're very fortunate. I don't know how much you all follow some of the other places, but Minnesota just went through, or Nebraska just went through a legislative action to where their state historical society is now, oh gosh, Teresa, what's the term they call them? They're basically under the governor's office. And so the appointments of their board members are all um, by gubernatorial appointment. So the fact that we have this flexibility to create this kind of to give it this kind of thought, I think is really a big plus for us.
It is. And I can't, in Congress, what's the congressman? I don't know what state he's from because I deliberately block him out, where he's trying to change diversity, inclusion. He wants all that stripped out and all these historic sites not mentioned. I mean, it's just insanity that you actually have people who view history as a threat, you know, or telling accurate history as a threat.
So I've sorted it just
Amen. I hear you.
Yeah.
I've sorted it just by alphabetical, and that picks up. You see that we've got one name. I think that's a carryover for past couple of years of David Cross from the Southern Kentucky Lakes and Rivers region. And then we've got several that have been identified over the years for the Western Lakes and Kentucky's region. So the list of names that you're looking at goes back quite some time. I've gone through and tried to take out some names of folks that I know that have either said no or have moved on to different positions, and we would want to kind of
Yeah.
rethink how that all goes.
Yeah. Um,
And let me know when you
so
want,
are
and
you
I'll
at the,
scroll through the
have
other
you,
sections.
have you pulled all the way down to the bottom of the Western Lakes and Rivers region?
Yes.
Okay.
If you can see the last recommendation you made of Chapel Wilson, that's the
Right.
last one on the list.
Okay, very good. And I hate to be a little clunky here, and I do apologize again for joining late. Did y'all vote to go into closed session before I joined?
We
No,
did
we
not.
have.
No,
Okay.
we did not.
Okay. Okay. Um, so um, I think that let's see. I would
I can move you to breakout rooms if you want to go by KRS 61.810F to discuss possible appointments.
So moved.
so we have
I
a motion. We have a second.
I second.
Okay. Was that D?
True D. Yep.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second to go into closed session to discuss personnel under the Kentucky Open Meetings Law. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Right.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Tony, and Tony, I'm watching to see if you come back in. If you're able to get the video before I put you back into the room.
All right, Teresa, am I on?
Your video's not on.
I know, I'm trying to figure that out. Hold on. But at least I'm on start video. Let's try it.
Oh, there you are. Now I'm gonna assign you to a room. Jennifer, you're muted again. Everyone comes back in muted.
Okay. Do we have a motion to come back into open session?
I make a motion to come back into open session.
Okay, and I see Dee raising his hand to second that. Okay, all those in favor of returning to open session signify by saying aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And I'll note for the record that Sheila Mason had to leave us just before we came back into open session because she had another meeting to get to.
Right.
So we need to set our next meeting date. And in the interim, Scott is going to poll current board members and foundation board members and ask them if they have any suggestions for potential board members from the Green River region, which includes Union, Henderson, Webster, Hopkins, Muhlenberg, McLean, Ohio, Davis, and Hancock counties.
And are we doing the same for the Southern Lakes and Rivers region?
Yeah.
Region 5?
Yes, thank you.
Just not a problem. No, just want to confirm.
Do we have any preferences for our next meeting date? And despite the fact that I was late today, I do like this pace that we're on, which has been about every 3 weeks and not getting too spread out. I'm open to suggestions.
So that would put us what, toward July 18, 19, somewhere in there for 3 weeks?
Yeah. Wednesday, July 17th would work for me. What about others?
That's
Dee
good for me.
Dee says yes.
I'm good.
Scott,
I might be out of town, but I should be able to be on Zoom on my phone.
okay. And we want to say 1 p.m. slow time, 2 p.m. fast time.
Okay, 1 p.m.,
That's central.
2 p.m. Eastern. Okay.
Once
So-
we get more Western Kentucky representation, we'll have to make that just part of our regular vernacular, right?
Yes. We really think we really think we're a little more sane over here because we watch the evening news at 10 o'clock and go to bed. Y'all are staying up until midnight sometimes.
But it's still daylight out here at 10 o'clock.
Exactly.
Midnight. It's Tulsa time.
Okay, so 7/17 at 2. Is that what we're saying? July 17th at
2 p.m. Central Time.
Central time.
I'm sorry. No. Eastern time.
Eastern time.
Oh, thank you.
You have to let me say slow time and fast time.
Yeah. Teresa will keep us all straight, right? Teresa, you'll
thank
get
you.
us a meeting schedule request out and we'll
Okay.
we'll update this prospect list with the notes that you all made, and then we won't pull anybody to the top or anything like that, but then we'll make that update and then get that back out to you as well. I know we had a couple names we identified as coming off.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Thank
I
you
really
all for your time.
appreciate everybody's time.
See
Good.
ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.